Hey guys, welcome back to Breadbox Racing and 4x4. We're on the Jeep again. Big surprise. We have a lot of wiring left to do. I've got some new parts. Shiny new cheap parts. All right, so we've got a coolant overflow bottle. This is just a super cheap Amazon unit. Literally cheapest thing I could find that fits. It's got a barb that'll work. I don't think it's the right size, but it'll work. It's got an O-ring in the cap, which I can take out to make this a non-pressurized bottle. I would just run a pop bottle, and if it was a road car, I would actually probably just consider that because it's been a fairly budget build. But because of the types of back roads we have around here, and in the summer, the amount of dust that you kick up, especially if you're following someone, if you don't have some sort of cap and a reasonably sealed, though not pressure tight bottle, your overflow will become a pot of mud. And not thin mud, thick. So it's easier to just get something like this. It was cheap, 30 bucks. No, 35 bucks. Stay. We also got, and now it's on the ground, a fuse box. It is also another very cheap Amazon item. Put the links in the description. The reason we need this, because we decided to go with the Chevy fuse box to save wiring. It didn't save wiring. It doesn't have enough relays in it. Simple as that. So I need more relays. Not the end of the world, we'll work past it, but if anyone else decides to do this, I recommend you keep the Jeep's fuse box. It does mean you have to cut into the Chevy harness a little bit, and a little into the Jeep harness, but that's a little bit on both sides, not a lot on the one side. So, it seemed like a good idea at the time, kind of wound up regretting it, but it's, 2020 hindsight, right? So that's what that is. I'm going to start by getting this coolant bottle on there, and I'll be right back with you. And then I'm going to start on wiring because there's some wiring stuff I need to get done tonight because tomorrow we're programming it. And hopefully tomorrow, which will be in this video, you will see that thing move under its own power for the first time since that engine's gone in. So I'm going to get to her and be back with you in a bit. All right, we got the coolant bottle mounted. I was considering using the nice black, high quality overflow hose, but the other one was orange. So, anyways, all we did is we bolted the coolant bottle to the radiator shroud. Hose runs around and in. Nothing complicated. As you can see, I already got a start on some of this. We have most things running off this relay box. We have horn, or this is the ignition relay. Then we've got wiper on off and wiper high low. Now we're just now we're setting up the relay outputs for the cooling fans. Now the deal here is that these red-blue connector PCMs have the ability to run a cooling fan. All you need is HP tuners to do it, and you have to add the pin because the pin doesn't exist. But in my case, what I've done is I've removed the EGR. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take those pins out and move them to where I need them and use some of those pins to make this all happen. And to remove pins from these ECUs, pretty easy to do, really. All you do is flip the little connector here up. Flip that little guy up. and it should just push right out, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. See? You just push that right on out. Now I've got a pin. I'm just gonna pull this wire back some so I have, you know, a foot or two of wire to use. And then I'm gonna use that as the fan wire. So thanks to the efforts of the folks over at HP Tuners and the good folks at, what was the name of the website? LT1swap.com. They have all your connector pinouts and where you need to add fan relay controls. You can see right there. Pin 42. Not used. Add. Oh, you can't see that. It says not used. Add pin here for fan 1 relay control. So that's what we're gonna do. Now this is set up for 2 fans, which is fine. The Jeep only has a single fan, and that fan has a high and a low speed. So our fan 1 will be the low speed, and 2 the high speed. I should mention that I'm using the EGR pins for the fan, but I'm not using them in the same positions. I'm taking those pins out and then I'm moving them. Just to be clear, because the fan output, that is pin 42. I can't make that whatever pin I want. It's got to be pin 42. So I got to move some pin from somewhere else to do that. So this only works really if you're getting rid of something like EGR or EVAP or something like that. So keep that in mind when you go to do this. It only works if you're ditching something else, or you can probably find these pins online fairly easily. I know Painless Performance makes harnesses for these, so they gotta have a supplier of pins somewhere, which tells me that someone must sell them. So anyways, just thought I'd clear that up. All right guys, it's midnight now, but got the wiring back to where we had it earlier, but now with the relay box. I got the Chevy relay box mounted. I need to add one more brace, but this at least gets it steady. Got the wires that I needed hooked back up, got the OBD port mounted. And that just runs directly to the ECU. It's not, it doesn't run to anything else right now, the serial line. Fuse box is gonna go down here. And for now, this relay is triggering it triggers a lot of different relays, but one of the ones it triggers is your fuel pump relay. The irony of having a relay to trigger relays is not lost on me. It's what I had to do. Technically, they're both a 10. Well, on the Chevy, this wire is not fused for some reason. And on the Jeep, it is. Supposedly they're both a 10 amp circuit, but you tell me those wires are meant to hold the same, carry the same current. I don't think so. Anyways, so that's where we're at. It's time for me to go to bed before I make a mistake on something. So far, nothing's let smoke out. If I keep going, you can bet that that'll wind up happening. So I gotta go to bed. Alright guys, so we got all this cleaned up, pulled out all the excess wires. On the Jeep side, I still got to thin out the LS harness a little bit. We got the new fuse box, new relay box mounted. Got things cleaned up a lot here, like a lot. I'm a lot happier with it now. Yes, I still have this bundle of wire, but I'm not sure what I still am going to need out of that. So for now, that's just going to have to stay. And that's a lot more manageable than what the Jeep side mess was. But we're ready to start writing to this. So I showed you how we were doing the pins for the fans. That's all done now. Now what I got to do is the most stressful part. So on here, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time for the view here. Okay. Anyways, the settings you want to enable fans, you go, this is HP Tuner's VCM suite using an MPVI2. So you just go to System, go to Fans, and under Hardware, Fan Type, you go, if yours was like my truck where it had a mechanical fan, it's going to say no fans. You go there and you select 2 fans. Now you can play around with your temperatures and whatnot. I'm going to set it to an on at 105 Celsius, which is I think 220 Fahrenheit. Your second fan temp, I have that coming on at 110 and off at 105, because at that point it's probably had a little while at 105. It hasn't come down. Most of the time, yes, it should work, where at 105 that low speed should bring the engine temp down. If it doesn't and it's continued to rise, kicks on the second stage fan. So there's that. Under AC, what I've done is for type fitted for AC, it's got a bunch of different types here. I've selected not fitted. And for recirculation fitted, you go there and select fan 2. And that tells it you're using your HVAC auto recirculate for your fan output. And then you can play around with disable RPMs and re-enable RPMs and throttle positions and stuff, but I'm just going to leave those the way they are. So now we save. Write down in our changelog what we did. Temp and 1 set to 105 C. Temp fan 2 set to 110. There we go. I just like to keep a little log of this because my memory is not that good. It's very easy to get lost in a where did something break? You know, that's really not all that hard to have happen. Anyways, we're gonna write this to the ECU now. Alright guys, Richard just came by, we got the programming done. There's a little head scratching, so I didn't film that. But now, for the first time since this pulled into the shop 2 months ago, behold,